Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this international break. Chris Hamill is in the hot seat today. Hamill, are we going to talk about England? Because people hate it when we talk about England, but I see they're at the top of the script.
We are, and this is everyone's favourite version of Winners and Losers, isn't it? International break. Yes, we've got England up first. This comes from Aaron McGuirk. Did you already say that?
Nope.
So credit where credit's due. Thank you for sending that in, Aaron or Aaron, because 2 A's can be Aaron. Used to play with an Aaron down at Wigston Youth. Anyway, England booked their place at next summer's Euros in style, didn't they? A 4-0 victory away to Kosovo following that 7-0 drubbing of Montenegro. Just clearing my throat. And it rounds off an extremely high-scoring year for the Three Lions, doesn't it? They've scored 38 goals in 2019, the most in a calendar year since 1908.
Not a bad little team, this one, is it?
When they famously scored 39 goals. No, very, very good in the final third, aren't we? Their average of 3.8 goals per game is also the best return since 1946, when they were averaging 4.8.
Not bad.
Post-war boom, that. Although not at their best on the night, admittedly, they still got the result in Pristina, didn't they? And it means that they go through to Euro 2020 as one of the top 6 seeds. And it was still a deserved victory despite the scoreline maybe flattering the Three Lions somewhat. England had 55% possession, outshot Kosovo 13-12, with 7 of their shots coming on target to the hosts' 3. And against Kosovo, it was another good evening for Harry Kane.
Yes.
And, you may have seen on Twitter, we got into a little bit of beef with some statisticians who think he's finished. The numbers here would suggest otherwise. He scored and assisted last night, taking his goal involvements from, in the last 6 games, I believe, to 15, 10 goals, 5 assists.
Yeah.
And he was going to be the main goal threat. And it played out like that, taking 5 shots as well as winning 3 aerial duels, becoming the first England player to score in every single qualifying game. That's 12 goals in 8 games, by the by, in the process. Gareth Southgate was obviously bloody delighted.
The quality of our attacking play throughout this campaign has been excellent, and the first half in particular, the movement, the speed, the quality of play, the combinations was everything that we work on.
Yeah, it was really, really good to see England putting in more strong performance. It also means, of course, that England will now play all 3 group games at Wembley, which I think is a big positive for England, because playing at home in front of a home crowd is surely only going to galvanise them. And that front line is just so exciting. 6-0, 7-0, 4-0. We're scoring so many goals and we've got so many options. I think Kane and Sterling probably nailed on as starters at the Euros.
Undroppable.
But there is one other position available to the likes of Hudson-Odoi, to the likes of Sancho, to the likes of Marcus Rashford. And Rashford, again, was really impressive when he came on the pitch. 31 minutes, created a chance, completed 3 dribbles, and a lovely first-time finish for his goal. He's now got 9 goals in his last 10 games for club and country. I think his main rival for the position is probably Jadon Sancho. I think Jadon Sancho, on paper, is a better player than Marcus Rashford, but at the moment is experiencing a few struggles at Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, last international break, he arrived back quite late and the club imposed a fine on him and also dropped him from the team. A couple of weeks ago, he was demoted to the bench against Wolfsburg, and then against Bayern Munich, of course, he was taken off after 36 minutes, I think, which is obviously a sign of a few problems there. Now, I'm not saying it's disastrous, because he's still going at an outrageous rate for goals and assists, but I just wonder whether that disharmony might see him move in January. I don't necessarily think he will, but if there's a time to get him, it might well be now. And we obviously saw reports in The Guardian, The Athletic, that teams are very interested. Chelsea in particular, who have their appeal to overturn the transfer ban in 2 days, and if that's the case, might well move for him. Apparently Borussia Dortmund want about 120 million euros to let him go. Manchester United remain very, very interested. Obviously still in the hunt for a right winger, although Daniel James has started the season well. Where do you think Jadon Sancho will end up? And do you see him moving in January, Hamill?
Well, you're right to say this is probably the most unsettled he's been, because it's not long that he signed a new contract. Of course, he was going at a rate of knots there, wasn't he? Clocking up a really meaningful amount of minutes, which we know he would not have got had he stayed at Manchester City or perhaps even the Premier League in general. And now his stock is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
I think Borussia Dortmund would probably be willing to cash in on him for 120. Is that the fee they've asked for?
Well, that's the rumour. Build have reported 120 million euros will be about enough to get him out.
It seems reasonable. I think people will be lining up to pay that for him as well, actually,
So
particularly from the Premier League. Chelsea, Manchester United in particular. I think even though Daniel James has made a good start, he's probably brought in as a squad player, and I wouldn't even picture him as a stumbling block if United were to go in for him. He would just have to accept being a rotation option. That's the sort of player that would get Manchester United back into the top 4, or at least kind of refresh your status as a club that goes out and gets these players and is appealing to these players. So yeah, Manchester United or Chelsea. I think Manchester United probably need him more. Chelsea across that forward line, Hudson-Odoi, Mount,
Pulisic,
Tammy,
Pulisic.
So yeah.
I think he's definitely an option, but I still don't think.
Would they sell to Bayern?
I don't think they'd sell to Bayern. I would be surprised if they sold to Bayern. However, never say never. We've seen loads of players make that move, haven't we? Hummels, Goetze, Lewandowski. So it wouldn't be a surprise. But I just still don't. I don't think he will move. But I think this is a good opportunity to have a go at getting him out of there. I certainly think he'll move next summer. He's not the only player that Manchester United are interested in. Obviously, we've seen Man United very interested in Haaland. The Athletic were reporting this week that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had a few texts with him. He sent his chief scout out there to apparently negotiate a deal, hasn't he? Salzburg looking in the region of 70 million euros for the 19-year-old, who's obviously got 5 hat-tricks this season from like 26 goals in 18 games, going at a ridiculous rate of knots. And I think that's probably more a move that could happen in January than Sancho. I think Sancho, if he's going to move, a little bit like Maddison, will be a summer move. Whereas Haaland, I think you could probably force Salzburg's hand with enough money. Yeah,
I mean, Salzburg are a club that are more amenable to selling their best players as well, aren't they? Because they're used to it. They have a history of it. Whereas if Dortmund are still chasing Bayern Munich down, of course, Marco Rose's Borussia Mönchengladbach are at the summit at the moment, aren't they? The title in Germany is still very much unsettled.
Definitely.
So they might want to keep their squad together for the foreseeable future. Where do you guys think should go? Let us know in the poll just above. Bang, move on. Before we move on to our next section, then, if you're not subscribed to the channel, then click the sub button as displayed on screen now. Turn notifications on, all that good stuff to never miss an episode of Winners and Losers. Let's crack on. First losers, it's the motherland, Russia, and this comes from NMFCB. What's happened to Boris's men?
They've been ripped apart by Belgium, 4-1 on the weekend. 2 from Eden Hazard, 1 from his brother Torgan, and Romelu Lukaku as well. It's a bit of an opportunity missed for the Russians. They could have gone level with the Red Devils at the top of their European qualifying group. However, they had already qualified, so not too much to play for. And they were actually pretty impressive. 53% possession in this game, 12 shots, 4 on target, but Belgium, as we've seen a lot under Roberto Martinez, so dangerous on the counter-attack, using that pace of the Hazard brothers and Romelu Lukaku to a great effect. Now, Russia, up to this point, have been pretty solid at the back. They conceded just 4 goals in their opening 8 qualifying games, and 3 of those came away against Belgium the first time they met. It won't really matter, though. Their 7 wins on the bounce since that March meeting until Saturday has obviously seen them qualify for the Euros. This was a bit of a non-event, as quite a lot of the international games over the weekend were. Nevertheless, Belgium, 4 goals, a bit of a blitzkrieg. Not the first time Russia's seen that.
Yeah, like you said, Roberto Martinez's men extremely clinical in this game, getting 8 of their 11 shots on target, taking their tally to 34 goals in 9 qualifying games. In fact, only England have scored more goals than them. And it was the Hazards who caused all the damage, wasn't it? Eden's double took him to 5 goals in 7 qualifying games and 32 goals in 102 Belgium appearances, which will be a massive confidence boost for him because he's been struggling for Los Blancos, hasn't he? Just 1 goal contribution in his last 5 games for Zidane's stuttering side, and his expected goals and assists per 90 has dropped to 0.27 at club level. That's 14th in the Real squad, and to give you some perspective, even more perspective, the same as Callum Robinson at Sheffield United. Anyway, at the other end of the spectrum is Romelu Lukaku, who continues his awesome form for both club and country. Got a goal and an assist here. He's now got 16 goals in 20 games at international and domestic level this term. 9 wins out of 9. 34 goals scored, only 2 goals conceded. They'll be hoping to better their 2016 quarter-final exit at the hands of Wales, won't they? At the Euros, of course, did okay at the World Cup.
Coleman vibes.
Although were really, really fortunate to get past Brazil. Yeah, this could be, you know, everyone's coming into their own in the squad. They've still got some of the golden generation. They could go really deep again, couldn't they? I think their best ever result was runners-up to West Germany in 1980. So, you know, let's topple that in 2020. Red Devils fans. I'm Belgian now.
Moving on to our final winners, it's by CG0XI Own, and it's Finland.
Yeah, the Pookie party continues at international level, baby, as, you know, Finland secured their place for the first time in a major tournament ahead of their final qualifying match, which is tonight, I believe. The Norwich striker scoring twice on the night and a comfortable 3-0 win as they finally broke the curse of being the only Nordic nation not to participate at a major tournament. And the fans, as you can imagine, were jubilant. They were ecstatic and they invaded the pitch. We love a pitch invasion. Roll VT. I mean, they were expected to win this, given Liechtenstein have only won twice since 2016. But who could begrudge those fans, those absolute limbs just there? And they did dominate the affair as well. 68% possession with 21 shots compared to Liechtenstein's 2. Hradecki must have had one of the easiest games of his career. He only had to make 1 save on the night, and the defence in front of him only had to clear the ball 6 times and make 3 tackles combined. Of course, not the same story for the visitors, who had to make a mammoth 38 clearances as the Finns' relentless attack continued for the full 90. Joe, you'll be delighted to see that Pookie could top the goal-scoring charts in that qualification group unless Belotti does a madness tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging pretty much a goal a game for Finland in this European Championship qualifying. However, he is struggling domestically quite a lot at the moment, isn't he? Still stuck on 6 goals, 1 more than I said he'd get all season though, so not too bad. 24 goals in 79 games for his country. He's just 5 short of the maestro, Mikael Forsell. Remember him? What a player. And 8 legend. Short, I think, of the record, which is obviously Jari Litmanen. So he might well end up breaking that, although he still has some way to go. For Liechtenstein, though, they're not great. I mean, they are only a nation or a principality of 40,000 people, so you're not expecting absolute miracles, are you?
Yeah,
they've only scored 2 goals. They've conceded 28 in qualifying, so they are one of the minnows of the competition. Nevertheless, still battling to their best ability. But a lot of people sort of talking about Finland potentially coming into the Euros and doing a little bit of an Iceland, causing a few upsets. I still think if you're one of the major nations, you want to be drawn against Finland, though. In the group,
of course.
England would love to be drawn against Finland at Wembley. It's one of those teams you think you could just go and rickroll. But nevertheless, the Pookie party continues. Finland, congratulations, your first ever tournament.
Rounding off our losers then, it's Brazil, the Seleção, succumbing to defeat against their biggest rivals. This comes from H.J. Kumar. Break it down, J2.
Yeah, obviously they lost 1-0 against Argentina, of course. It was the little magician who scored, wasn't it? Lionel Messi converting after he missed the penalty. Another save from Alisson in the 13th minute. This was, of course, in the same game that Gabby Jesus missed that penalty, which was an absolute shocker. If you haven't seen the Gabriel Jesus penalty miss, I suggest you go and search it on Twitter right now. It's a disaster. Both Messi and Lautaro Martinez, who have been in fantastic form for Inter Milan, looked to extend the lead and missed some sitters. But Alisson, who, for me, probably the 3rd best keeper in the world right now, did make some extraordinary saves in this game. And it was a typical South American match as well. 41 fouls across the 90 minutes. That's more than a foul every 3 minutes. And it featured 6 yellow cards. This was, of course, Lionel Messi's return to international football as well, following that ban for criticising officials at the Copa America, and he was phenomenal. Led his side in touches, shots, fouls committed, and free kicks won. I'm not sure why fouls committed is a positive stat, but he gave away 5 apparently. Just proving that he can do it. So, yeah, he can do it good and he can do it bad as well.
Yeah, I mean, the game was attritional, like you just highlighted there. Wasn't an awful lot of football given the calibre of player on the pitch. But off the pitch, there was some drama, there was some confrontation, particularly between Messi and Brazil boss Tite. Now, after the little Argentine committed a foul, Tite called for a booking, as is commonplace, in that sort of tie when it gets heated, only for Messi to respond by telling him to shut his mouth, which...
Oh, you're hard.
That is pretty funny. The Brazil coach criticised the refereeing after the game, saying he was right to complain about Messi throughout that game, in particular in that instance. And as it happens, he wasn't the only member of the Brazil side to complain about the behaviour of the GOAT on the night. Thiago Silva said that Messi kicked 2 players and that him and the referee laughed about it.
Good.
So, handbags. This
Do
all
what you want,
sounds
Messi.
a little bit pathetic, really, doesn't it? Before saying that Messi had no respect following his altercation with Tite. Now, this could just be the frustration of the Brazil camp boiling over, or reaching boiling point even. They haven't won a game since the Copa America, winless in 5. We'll, of course, be hoping to snap that streak against South Korea. Argentina, conversely, though, enjoying a nice little run since the summer. That's 3 victories and 2 draws for them. They play Uruguay in Israel tomorrow, I believe, before the 2022 World Cup qualifiers kick off in March. But South America fans, you know, if you're watching, which nation is in the best shape at the moment? Keep us educated. Let us know in the comments below. Let's move on to our final section, which is Star of the Round. Hey.
That star of the round was submitted by 100% Beast, and it is Cristiano Ronaldo, Hamill.
Yeah, we simply had to include him, didn't we, after he claimed 4 more goals during the international break. This included a hat-trick against Lithuania. One was an absolute worldie, to be fair.
Yeah,
and a tap-in against Luxembourg, which Diogo Jota took extremely well because that would have been his first international goal. So hardly stellar competition, but he won't care, will he, as he edges towards that century of goals. What a haul when representing a European nation, that is. And despite turning 34 this February, the latest goal haul means that Cristiano Ronaldo has now scored more goals for his country in 2019 than in any other calendar year since his debut in 2003. So aging like a fine wine. And Lithuania and Luxembourg might be minnows, but this was an essential round of games for Fernando Santos' men. They had to get all 6 points because Serbia were breathing down their necks. So Ukraine actually finished top of Group B on 20 points. Portugal edged through in second place, of course, just 3 points ahead of Serbia, like I said, who they actually beat in match day 5, 4-2 away from home. So that proved a crucial fixture in this group. I'm pretty confident this group's finished now. But you've got some stats about Ronaldo because he's certainly not finished, is he?
Yeah, not at all. I saw an interview with him this morning saying he's going to break every record that Portugal have, and he probably will. He sits on 99 goals. Just to give you some perspective, that's 65 more than Maradona, 30 more than Messi, 22 more than Pele, 11 goals shy of Ali Daei's record as the highest international goal scorer of all time, and I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually gets there. He's done it in just 164 matches, and to give some real context around it, 83% of the goals have come in competitive games. So you see a lot of England players scoring in friendlies, or previously when we had friendlies. Cristiano Ronaldo just always pops up when his side need him. His ratio against the top 10 nations is a goal every other game too, which really puts to bed anybody who says that he sort of stats pads against some of the rubbish sides across the world. He's now scored 117 goals as well from outside the box. That's the most in the 21st century. And this season, he's got 11 goals in 6 games for Portugal, 6 goals in 14 games for Juventus. He's scored 30 plus goals in 13 consecutive calendar years. The only other player to do that? Pele. And that's what he claims. No proof. So that's it for this week's episode of Winners and Losers. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button. Hamill, what should people do next?
Well, we have the latest Sunday Vibes. That's out. We've got the Extra Time podcast. That's also live. Link in the description below. And go and check out Tammy Abraham's Unfiltered with Zach Gelab.
Bye.
Bye.